Archaeologists opened a jar of honey inside an Egyptian tomb that was 3,000 years old. It was still edible. That is not a myth. That is a documented find from a 1922 excavation. And it is the reason this list exists, because there are foods sitting in your grocery store right now that will outlast you, your children, and your grandchildren if stored correctly. Every item on this list costs under $3 at Walmart. Every shelf life claim is based on documented food science, not prepper speculation. Let's go through all 12. 12. Iodized salt. Great value iodized salt. 26 ounces, 98 cents. Salt does not expire. It cannot expire. It is a mineral. The only thing that changes over time in a salt container is that it may clump from moisture, but the salt itself is chemically identical on day 1 and day 10,000. The hidden angle. Iodized salt specifically contains potassium iodide, which does degrade over time and can reduce iodine content after 5 years in poor storage. Store it sealed in a cool, dry place, and the iodine holds for a decade or more. At 98 cents a container, you can stock a 10-year supply of iodine and sodium for under $5. 11. White distilled vinegar. Great value white distilled vinegar, 32 ounces, $2.48. Vinegar is self-preserving. The acidity level, typically 5%, creates an environment where bacteria and mold cannot survive. The FDA does not require an expiration date on vinegar because there is no scientifically defensible end date. The hidden angle most channels skip. White distilled vinegar is also a cleaning agent, a surface sanitizer, and a food preservation medium. In a long-term grid-down scenario, it replaces 4 or 5 single-purpose products. 2 bottles at $2.48 each covers you for years of cooking and sanitation. 10. Baking soda. Great value baking soda, 64 ounces, $2.24. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, another mineral compound that does not degrade. The box in your pantry has a best-by date because the manufacturer wants to sell more boxes, not because the chemistry changes. The practical test. Dissolve 1 teaspoon in hot water. If it fizzes, it is active. Baking soda from 1987 still passes this test in documented experiments. Beyond cooking, it is a mild abrasive cleaner, a fire suppressant for grease fires, and an odor neutralizer for long-term storage containers. At $2.24 for 4 pounds, this is the most undervalued item on today's list. 9. White sugar. Great value pure granulated sugar, 5 pounds, $3.28. Sugar is hygroscopic, it absorbs moisture, but it does not provide the water activity that microorganisms need to grow. In sealed storage, white sugar lasts indefinitely. Brown sugar hardens but is technically still safe indefinitely. The hidden angle. Sugar is one of the most calorie-dense, shelf-stable substances available at any grocery store. 1 cup of white sugar is 774 calories. A 5-pound bag is approximately 8,700 calories at $3.28. That is 263 calories per dollar, one of the best calorie per dollar ratios in the entire store. In a prolonged disruption, sugar becomes barter currency before most other items. 8. Cornstarch. Great value cornstarch, 16 ounces, $1.28. Indefinite shelf life when kept dry. Cornstarch is a thickening agent that doubles as a food preservative and a wound care product. The application channels never mention. Cornstarch absorbs moisture and reduces friction, which makes it a viable substitute for baby powder and an anti-chafing agent in scenarios where hygiene supplies run low. It also thickens soups and stews made from stockpile ingredients, which dramatically improves palatability over extended periods. At $1.28, it earns a place on this list because it serves 3 separate functions in one package. 7. Pure vanilla extract. Great value pure vanilla extract, 2 ounces, $5.97. This is the most expensive item on the list and the one that surprises people most. Pure vanilla extract, not imitation, contains alcohol as its base, typically 35% or higher. Alcohol does not expire. The FDA classifies pure vanilla extract as having an indefinite shelf life. The hidden angle. Imitation vanilla extract does have a shelf life because it is made with synthetic vanillin in water. The two look identical on the shelf. The word pure in the name is the only thing that makes the difference between a product that lasts forever and one that degrades in 3 years. At $5.97 for pure versus $1.97 for imitation, The premium pays for itself in storage value. But the next 5 items on this list are the ones that matter most in a real disruption, and 2 of them are in aisles most people never visit. 6. White rice, properly stored. Great value long grain white rice. 5 pounds, $3.37. White rice in its original bag has a shelf life of 2 years, but the same white rice transferred to an airtight container or sealed mylar bag with an oxygen absorber has a documented shelf life of 25 to 30 years. The hidden angle. Brown rice cannot do this. Brown rice contains oils in the bran layer that go rancid within 6 to 12 months, regardless of storage method. Every person who tells you brown rice is healthier is correct about nutrition. Every serious long-term storage practitioner buys white rice. This is not a debate, it is food chemistry. At $3.37 for 5 pounds, white rice is the backbone of any serious pantry. 5. Instant coffee. Folgers Classic Roast Instant Coffee, 12 ounces, $8.97. This is the only item on the list that exceeds our $3 ceiling, and it earns its place. Instant coffee in a sealed container has a documented shelf life of 20 years. The freeze-drying process removes the moisture that causes oxidation and rancidity. The hidden angle. Caffeine is a functional medication in a disruption scenario. Caffeine withdrawal produces headaches, fatigue, and impaired focus within 24 to 48 hours of cessation in regular consumers. In a scenario where physical and mental performance matters, maintaining caffeine access is not a comfort decision. It is a performance decision. At $8.97 for 12 ounces, this is also a high-value barter item in any extended disruption. 4. Dried beans, sealed. Great value dry pinto beans, 4 pounds, $3.98. Like rice, beans in their original bag degrade after 2 to 3 years. The same beans in sealed mylar with an oxygen absorber last indefinitely. There are documented cases of beans stored for 30 years that cooked normally and tested safe. The caveat other channels miss. Very old beans may never fully soften regardless of cooking time, which is a texture problem, not a safety problem. The protein content remains intact. At $3.98 for 4 pounds, approximately 60 servings at 15 grams of protein each. This is the most protein-dense dollar on this entire list. 3. Pure maple syrup, sealed. Great value 100% pure maple syrup, 12 ounces, $5.97. Unopened, pure maple syrup lasts indefinitely. This is the same principle as honey. High sugar concentration creates an antimicrobial environment. The hidden angle. This is on almost no prepper list because it costs more than pancake syrup. But pancake syrup is corn syrup with artificial flavoring and it does expire. Pure maple syrup does not. At $5.97, it is a calorie-dense sweetener with indefinite shelf life that pulls double duty as a flavor agent and a morale item. In a 30-day disruption, food that tastes good maintains caloric intake better than food that is merely safe to eat. 2. Hard alcohol. Burnett's vodka, 750 milliliters, $7.97. Pure distilled spirits above 40% alcohol, vodka, gin, rum, whiskey, have an indefinite shelf life. The alcohol content prevents any microbial activity. Open bottles lose some of the volatile aromatics over years, but the ethanol remains fully intact and safe indefinitely. The hidden angles are 4. Caloric source, antiseptic for wound cleaning, trade and barter item, and fire starter. Vodka specifically because it is flavorless and therefore most versatile as both a cooking ingredient and an antiseptic. At $7.97, this is the second highest unit cost on the list and the most versatile multi-use item on it. And now, the item that started this entire list, the one that archaeologists proved 3,000 years ago, and that you can buy at Walmart for under $8. 1. Raw honey. Great value pure honey. 32 ounces, $7.98. Indefinite shelf life, documented and proven across millennia. The crystallization you see in older honey is a physical change, not a sign of spoilage. Warming the jar in water returns it to liquid. The 6 functions we covered in our July 4th video still hold. Caloric energy, natural wound dressing with documented antimicrobial properties, cough and throat treatment, flavor preservative, long-term barter item, and food preservation medium. There is no other item at this price point that performs this many functions across this many scenarios. 1 jar minimum. 2 if your budget allows. Here is the total for all 12 items. salt, vinegar, baking soda, sugar, cornstarch, vanilla extract, rice, instant coffee, pinto beans, maple syrup, vodka, and honey. At current Walmart prices, that comes to $56.01 for a pantry foundation that will outlast anything else you own. The free checklist in the description maps every item with exact storage instructions. How to seal rice and beans for maximum shelf life is in there, including the Mylar bag method. Link is pinned in the comments. Next video: 9 items at Walmart that do not look like emergency supplies at all, and 2 of them have quiet purchase limits in certain zip codes. That one goes up in 2 days. If there is one thing worth doing this week, it is buying at least 3 items from this list. Start there.